Alright, so welcome back. Today we are doing a 5-minute power test. It's a straight 5 minutes of raw power. So to do this test, what you need to do is create a new custom workout in Zwift. You can put an arbitrary warm-up or do something that's part of your warm-up routine, and I'll explain my warm-up routine during this video as well. Then you're going to put in 5 minutes at your last known 5-minute power. You can get that number off zwiftpower.com, as well as at the end of any Zwift workout, it'll show you your critical power line. That's essentially a graph that'll show you your power over a certain period of time. Then you're going to want to make sure that you do a cool down as well, because there's nothing like dying off the bike and then doing nothing afterwards. So for my warm-up, what I ended up doing was a 10-minute ramp, starting at about 30% FTP, building like you do in a race. A few little activation pieces as well, spun at 3 times 1 minute at high cadence, just under FTP, just get my muscles warmed up. And then I also did a bit of activation, so doing a bit of a pull phase with my hamstrings, and then tucked in the arrow position as well to activate the glutes. Then I did a bit of a cool down for my warm-up, and then I jumped onto this workout. So let's get after it. So the first minute and a half have already gone. The first minute's going to go by really, really quickly, you're going to find, because it's not a sprint. You know, you're able to sustain this power for a minute, but as soon as you hit a minute and a half, you're really starting to hurt here. So we're about just under 40% done. The goal here is to find a nice, comfortable cadence, keep that power up, and try not to fluctuate as much. Although, of course, that's easier said than done. That's really the goal here, because in the last 2 minutes or so, you're going to be hurt. Notice how I'm not standing up here yet. I'm just trying to save that for when I start to hurt, if I'm not hurting already. Coming up on around the halfway mark here, the end is in sight. The goal over the next minute and a half or so, down till you get to the last minute, is to make sure that you just don't drop your power. It's really a mental game here that you're playing. The first 2 minutes, hold that target FTP, or rather that target wattage. That next minute, you're holding on, and then the next 2 minutes, or the last 2 minutes, you're standing up, you're doing whatever it is you can to get back. So now you can see that I've stood up. I'm starting to hurt quite a bit here. My heart rate's pretty consistent, but the cadence is slowing down. Things aren't looking too good, but that's when you have to dig deep. So the reason I like to do this 5-minute power once in a while is that I find it's a lot more repeatable than a 20-minute FTP. Not only am I not a fan of 20-minute FTP, I think there's a lot of variables that can go wrong in itself, and that way you can get skewed results. You can have unbelievably high, unbelievably low results that don't necessarily give you good training value. Of course, it's good to know what your FTP is, but to obsess over those numbers, I would say can have a little bit of an unhealthy trend here. We're coming down to the last minute and a half. You can see the power's dropping. My form is all over the place. I'm losing a lot of power in the elbows, in the shoulders, trying to keep that cadence up. And it's really not going very well, but this is where you have to dig deep. You have to put in that work and really persevere. Once you get down to a minute, it's all mental. So this is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm sitting down and taking a little bit of a mental break, and I do encourage that. Take a bit of a mental break here before you get into that last minute. You can see I let my power drop, but I'm switching gears, and I'm going to give it for that last minute here. So unlike the 20-minute FTP or the ramp test, you're welcome to stand up here. A lot more loose and liberal, and you just do whatever it is you can to get through that 5 minutes. There's no worry about inflating your numbers here by standing up. This is, of course, an anaerobic effort, so it's expected that you're going to be working quite a bit harder than an FTP test. 30 seconds to go here. Now I'm in the home stretch, and mentally you can sort of check in and say, look, this is all I have to do. And this is where I really love this test, because you can really leave everything on the line in 5 minutes and just be completely done. You don't have to suffer for 20 minutes. It's one and done here. And you already saw the start of this, so you know what's going to happen. But I hope you enjoyed this 5-minute test. I did manage to get 5.8 watts per kilo, so not quite 6, but I'm very happy with this result.